First at 9 this Sunday, the 30th of June 2024. Confident. President Ranil Wickremesinghe expresses confidence in concluding discussions with private bondholders, completing the external debt restructuring process by next week. Hopeful reunion. SJP must reunite with the UNP to re-establish eroded voter base, asserts UNP's deputy leader. On track. Sri Lanka on the brink of surpassing 1 million tourist arrivals. 980,000 tourist arrivals recorded in the first 5 months this
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දිනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක. මේ වෙලාවේ රනිල් තමයි.
From Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Singh joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now taking you straight to your top story this evening, President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed hope that the discussions with bondholders will successfully conclude next week. Addressing the first rally in the Victory Through Unity series organised by Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara held in Mathura today, the President highlighted his administration's extensive efforts over the past 2 years and underscored the critical need for collective commitment to protect and propel the nation's political journey for the benefit of all. President Wickremesinghe also extended an invitation to the opposition, urging them to prioritise national interests over partisan politics.
A public rally pledging support to President Ranil Wickremesinghe was held this evening at the Mathura Fort with the participation of politicians representing several parties including Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and the United National Party.
Even though the country was restored to a certain extent following the crisis, we will be unable to achieve the targets we expect if we fail to hand over this country to a brave leader with a vision and experience. That is why we, along with the general public, propose that the country be handed over to Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa instructed us to invite Sajith Premadasa to accept the premiership. He instructed us to present the necessary information pertaining to state accounts to Sajith Premadasa. I instructed the incumbent Central Bank Governor and the Treasury Secretary to meet the opposition leader at his office and share the necessary information with him. Along with the opposition leader, there were Dr. Harsha De Silva, Iran Vikramaratne and Kabir Hashim, who claimed to be economic experts. Following 2-hour discussions, they said the country cannot be resurrected and that the situation will be worse, similar to that of Lebanon, Libya and Greece. However, one person saw this situation from a different perspective. He was none other than President Ranil Wickremesinghe. That is why we extend our support to Ranil Wickremesinghe to revive the collapsed economy of the country.
අපේ සම්පූර්ණ සහයෝගය ලබා දීලා මේ රට වැටිච්ච තදින් ගොඩනගන්නට මේ උත්සාහ කරන්න කියන එක මම කියන්නට ඕන.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe arrived at the rally later in the evening.
During discussions with scientists, Honorable Kumara Disanayaka claims that the country's external debt amounts to $41 billion and that it can be easily repaid. He is unaware whether the denomination is in rupees or dollars. He questions whether the postponement of debt repayment is a matter to celebrate. He says he is able to repay the entire $41 million debt completely. However, in a previous interview, he stated that he too will negotiate a postponement of debt repayment. He is completely unaware of what he said earlier.
We are yet to commence our political campaign for the presidential election. Most people say that the president is yet to announce whether he is contesting in the upcoming polls or not. However, we will commence our campaign today. When the election results are announced, all of you can witness a massive victory for the president and the government. At the same time, people will question whether the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has made a decision to nominate the president as the candidate. All MPs representing Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna on this stage are united in the aim of getting Ranil Wickremesinghe elected as the country's president. We all know that our party leader have understood that well. Those who are not party leaders might have different opinions. Not just the leaders of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, but the majority of its members will also unite in supporting President Ranil Wickremesinghe as soon as the elections are announced.
I have anchored the Titanic ship which was handed over to me at the harbour. All the former captains ran away. There was no one else to claim responsibility due to the looming fear of the iceberg. What are we going to do? Are Are we going to refurbish the ship and use it for another 50 or 100 years, or hand over its responsibility to a former captain who earlier ran away? Both our economic and political systems collapsed. However, we somehow took over its responsibility. I had self-confidence and the public's confidence. We have regained stability and have a long way to go. We will not increase the VAT. However, we might have to impose a wealth tax on Sri Lanka's wealthiest. There is no issue since none of you will be affected by it. We have obtained funds by selling our bonds to the private sector. Following the signing of agreements with the bilateral creditors, bondholders began to discuss matters with us. I thought it would take at least a month. Discussions are continuing successfully. We expect to conclude those discussions by next week. Following its conclusion, we will have an agreement. I informed the chairman of the Committee on Public Finance, Dr. Harsha De Silva, to analyze these agreements and enter into discussions. I informed him that we should focus on elections following the conclusion of those discussions. People ask which party my cabinet belongs to. My cabinet represents the members of parliament who united in the interest of the country. I invite the leaders of the opposition to join with us. If they do, we can make the entire parliament a government next time, giving them the opportunity to learn from me.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
Now, with the presidential election around the corner, Sri Lanka's senior advisor on climate change and UNP's deputy leader, Ruwan Wijewardena, claims that President Ranil Wickremesinghe's United National Party is in discussions with the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna to form an alliance as the president plans to contest in the upcoming polls as a common candidate. Speaking at our current affairs program at Hyde Park with Indivari Amuwatta, Wijewardena also expressed his belief that the UNP and the main opposition, the Samagi Janabalawegaya, should also join hands to secure a stronger voter base, which was split during the UNP's division in 2019. Addressing allegations regarding the government securing debt treatment agreements for electoral gain, Wijewardena emphasized that such complex negotiations cannot be conducted to target election outcomes.
Opposition can always sit back and criticize. You need the right leadership. You need a person to steer the country in the right direction. And I don't think the opposition has that leadership. I don't think they have the political capacity to take hard decisions. They don't have the political will to take this forward.
With a presidential election around the corner, there is conversation that most of these decisions are carefully planned and organized in such a way to be announced as the election approaches.
These negotiations that has been happening, it's not targeting the presidential election. These are complex negotiations. I mean, first you have to negotiate with the IMF. The IMF has the debt sustainability analysis that they do in a country. And then they will give you recommendations, goals and targets on how to achieve sustainability. I mean, these are not easy targets to, if you are looking at an election and negotiating that, I don't think you can come into a proper solution for the country.
Without opposition leader Sajith Premadasa, who was deputy leader of the United National Party, and the faction of the SJB, that the United National Party couldn't work to win an election.
Yeah, I mean, once the party split, obviously the confidence of our supporter went down. Part of our voter base moving away and joining up with Sajith Premadasa, and you had another part of our voter base that went silent and didn't vote. So, but I was always been in the stance saying that these two groups have to come together.
Is there a possibility that these
I think there is a possibility.
Are you in conversation, in negotiation with the SJB?
I have been talking to some of the SJB MPs who've been in parliament with me, who's been in provincial council with me. Their thoughts are the same, that at one point these two sides have to come together.
What are the chances that the United National Party and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna will work together?
Well, there's talks. There's talk about an alliance because President Wickremesinghe is coming as a common candidate. He's not coming as a UNP candidate. Right now, you have a lot of SLPP MPs and ministers who are quite keen on supporting Mr. Wickremesinghe. Their party leadership has also been in talks with President Wickremesinghe. There has not been a negotiations or conversation between the SLPP and the UNP at the moment. But I think at some point, if President Wickremesinghe is coming forward for the election as a common candidate, then I think there can be an alliance not only between the SLPP, the UNP, but other parties as well. President Wickremesinghe has been working with the SLPP government for some time, and especially the younger ministers, really warmed up to President Wickremesinghe, and they find it very easy to work with him. If there is an alliance, and that alliance wins the next general election, I think it won't be an issue for us to work with President Wickremesinghe.
Horizon Campus 2024 intake. Register now.
Now, meanwhile, Minister of Urban Development and Housing Prasanna Ranatunga claims that the SLPP's top brass has been tasked with the responsibility of choosing the party's presidential candidate. Addressing a gathering in Kiribati yesterday, Minister Ranatunga went on to say that the SLPP MPs united to support incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe to aid him in the revival of the country's economy.
The Kiribati rally of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, organised by State Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development Prasanna Ranawira, was held yesterday with the participation of several key parliamentarians of the SLPP.
We are preparing for the presidential election. Many inquire as to who our candidate would be. We have allowed the leaders of our party to take that decision. We engage in politics believing that our party will take the right decision. SLPP parliamentarians united as one to assist the incumbent president to revive the country's economy. The president established the rule of law once again in the country and protected peace and harmony while reviving its economy with the assistance of SLPP MPs.
වැටිච්ච ආර්ථිකය ගොඩ ගන්නත් එතුමා කටයුතු කරේ පොට්ටුවේ මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ගේ සහයෝගයෙන්.
අපි අදටත් විශ්වාස කරනවා මේ බදු ප්‍රතිපත්තිය තුල
We are of the view that taxes charged from local businessmen must be reduced. The incumbent president and the cabinet of ministers implemented a program which led to the successful restructuring of Sri Lanka's debt. The restructured bilateral debt was obtained initially to develop Sri Lanka's infrastructure. However, if the proceeds secured by privatizing state assets is not used to pay off debt but is used for consumption, we will not be able to come out of the crisis anytime soon. Some ask us why we still speak about the civil war. Those who ask such questions from us author books on the civil war even now. We thought Ranasinghe Premadasa was the only leader to arm the LTTE. However, Pillayan recently revealed that another political party also armed the LTTE. Those claims must be investigated. Did a political party as such have weapons to arm the LTTE? If that party did in fact arm the LTTE, the people of this country must be aware of the party's policies. Now, National People's Power MP Dr. Harini Amarasuriya claims that Anurukumara Dissanayake will dissolve the parliament within 24 hours of assuming office as the country's president, paving the way for the NPP to clean up Sri Lanka's legislature. Meanwhile, leader of the National People's Power, Anurukumara Dissanayake, claims that the country's political power, which is currently centralized on a few families, must be transferred to a new political force to manifest the change demanded by Sri Lanka's people.
The Kalutara District Public Rally of the National People's Power was held in Horana yesterday under the patronage of party leader Anurukumara Dissanayake.
Within 3 months' time, we will oust this evil, corrupt government and elect Comrade Anurukumara Dissanayake as the president of this country. Comrade Anurukumara Dissanayake said that he would dissolve the parliament within the first 24 hours of assuming office as the country's president. That would then give us the opportunity to clean up the country's corrupt legislature and get it new representatives of the people who actually care about the people.
ජනතාව ගැන හිතන අලුත් මහජන නියෝජිතයන් පත් කරගන්න.
රට පුරාම බහුතර ජනතාවගේ අපේක්ෂාව බවට පත් වී තිබෙන්නේ.
A majority of people across the country expect a change. Who can manifest that change? What is that change? What is the nature of the change that the people desire? Can Ranil Wickremesinghe facilitate that change? There's no point even talking about it. The SLPP has not formally endorsed Ranil Wickremesinghe yet. However, several individual SLPP MPs have endorsed Ranil Wickremesinghe. They are trying to perpetuate the same old unsuccessful and destructive political tactics. Then are we left with Sajid's camp? Enough. Let's not even talk about it. Then who do you need to manifest a change in this country? Political power must be vested in a new political force to create that change. The country's power has been centralized on a few families at the moment. What authority has Ranil Wickremesinghe got to speak about theft? Mahinda Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe repeatedly call each other thieves. Similarly, what authority has Sajid Premadasa got to speak about theft? The NPP is the only party that can comment against the theft of state assets, and it is also the only party that can guarantee an end to it. That is the change we can manifest. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa says that he will negotiate with the wealthy nations of the world in order to attract the maximum investment opportunities possible to Sri Lanka. Addressing a rally in Matale, the opposition leader assured the public that they can place their trust in him as he is focused on establishing an era of development in the island nation.
The Samagi Janabalawaga's Matale district rally was held today under the patronage of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
Our president has no sympathy towards his citizens. Some politicals don't like to connect with their constituents personally. But Sajith Premadasa, who will be the future president of this country, lives in the hearts and minds of the people.
Yesterday, the government fractured into two. The government has three presidential candidates at the moment. One side is President Ranil Wickremesinghe with a few SLPP MPs who support him. The other side is currently struggling to choose between Damika Pereira and Chamal Rajapaksa. Despite whatever adjustments the JVP have made to its branding, it is still the same old party at its core.
Under my leadership, I will inspire an era of development which will cause the lives of those living in the Matale district to be prosperous. I promise to you that you will be able to voice your concern directly to me through the divisional secretariats. Some people question whether it is possible to do those. However, I request all of you to place your trust in me without any fear. I will resurrect this country definitely. I assure you that I will negotiate with all the wealthy countries and attract all possible investment opportunities to Sri Lanka.
Senior Additional Solicitor General, President's Counsel Derana Singha is expected to be sworn in as the Acting Attorney General of Sri Lanka before Chief Justice, President's Counsel Jayantha Jayasuriya tomorrow. He will replace the outgoing Attorney General, President's Counsel Sanjay Rajaratnam, whose tenure is set to expire today. On the 20th of May 2021, the then Parliamentary Council approved the appointment of President's Counsel Sanjay Rajaratnam to the Office of Attorney General of the Republic of Sri Lanka, replacing former Attorney General, President's Counsel Dappula Dilivera. Rajaratnam was sworn in as the Attorney General before former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on the 26th of May 2021.
With President's Counsel Sanjay Rajaratnam's tenure as the Attorney General expected to expire at the end of this month, a proposal was forwarded by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to the Constitutional Council on the 18th of June to extend Rajaratnam's tenure by another 6 months. However, the proposal was defeated in the Council. Once again on the 26th of June, another proposal was forwarded to the Constitutional Council by the President, only to be defeated yet again with 5 members voting against the proposal, while 3 voted in favour. With the President's proposal being defeated twice in the Constitutional Council, a decision was made to appoint an acting Attorney General until a permanent Attorney General is appointed. Accordingly, Senior Additional Solicitor General, President's Counsel Derana Singha is expected to be appointed as the acting Attorney General of Sri Lanka. He is scheduled to be sworn into office before Chief Justice, President's Counsel Jayantha Jayasuriya tomorrow. Derana Singha is the son of Derana Singha Sr., who served as the 38th Chief Justice of Sri Lanka.
And now let's take a look at some local news in brief.
An individual who attempted to murder a salesperson at a weekly fair in Maharagama was arrested by the Police Special Task Force. The arrested suspect was identified as a fish vendor working at the same weekly fair. During the arrest, the police were also able to seize several narcotic pills in the possession of the arrestee. Meanwhile, a vehicle travelling from Norwood to Hatton veered off the road and crashed into a ditch by the side of the same road. A woman travelling in the vehicle along with another individual who sustained injuries during the accident were promptly admitted to the Dikkoya Base Hospital for treatment. In the meantime, an individual riding a bicycle collided with a van on the Piliyandala Colombo road. The cyclist, a 64-year-old resident of Piliyandala, succumbed to his injuries. In other local news, a collision between a 3-wheeler and a van took place on the 7th mile post along the Puttalam-Anuradhapura road, killing the 3-wheeler driver on the spot. The unfortunate accident had taken place after the 3-wheeler travelling towards Puttalam had attempted to take a turn after spotting a wild elephant crossing the road.
Welcome back. Now, the number of tourists who visited Sri Lanka so far this year crossed 980,000, showing potential that Sri Lanka is getting closer to the year-end target of 2.3 million arrivals. During the period from the 1st of January to the 9th of June last year, 596,763 arrivals were recorded. This year's arrivals during the same period show a surge of 384,399 to 981,162 arrivals. However, during the month of June so far, Sri Lanka has welcomed a total of 84,383 tourists. Weekly tourist arrival reports of Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority showed that 155,586 arrivals were recorded during the same period last year. The highest number of tourist arrivals were reported from India, followed by the United Kingdom, China, Australia and the Maldives. According to the SLTDA's monthly tourist arrivals report, 178,466 Indian tourists and 113,261 Russian tourists had visited Sri Lanka since the beginning of this year. Now, the data from the Coconut Development Authority shows that the average coconut prices shot up to 83,443 rupees from 81,228 rupees for 1,000 nuts at an auction on the 27th of June. Coconut auction prices rose 10% over June and are up 32% from lows of 62,900 seen at the beginning of June. The highest price was 95,000 rupees for 1,000 nuts at the 27th of June auction, up from 86,200 rupees, while the lowest was 77,000 rupees, up from 66,000 rupees. A total of 337,176 coconuts were offered at the auction, while 328,726 were sold. And now let's take a look at some corporate news in brief.
SoftLogic Life recently announced a 6 billion rupee share buyback pending shareholder approval. The buyback price is 102 rupees and 40 cents per share for up to 58,973,750 shares of the current 375 million shares in issue. In its disclosure, the company added that it aims to optimize capital and enhance shareholder value, leveraging its financial performance and a low-interest rate environment. Meanwhile, Chairman of Citizens Development Business Finance PLC, Alastair Correa, stated that the company entered the year 2024-2025 with a positive momentum and affirmed their confidence that the company is well positioned to capitalize. In its annual report for 2023-2024, the chairman added that their focus remains on innovative solutions which are designed to meet the evolving needs and conveniences of the customers while addressing the challenges of sustainability and financial inclusivity. The chairman further highlighted that their dual focus on tech disruption and sustainability positions them uniquely to drive meaningful change. In other corporate news, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce announced the re-election of its board of the year 2024-2025 at the Chamber's 185th Annual General Meeting held on the 27th of June. Accordingly, Duminda Hulangamua was re-elected as the Chamber Chairman, while Krishan Balendra was reappointed as its Vice Chairman.
Now in some breaking news, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation announced a fuel price revision with effect from midnight tonight. The price of a litre of 92-octane petrol has been reduced by 11 rupees to 344 rupees. Auto diesel has been kept unchanged. The price of a litre of 95-octane reduced by 41 rupees to 379 rupees, while super diesel has been reduced by 22 rupees to 355 rupees. That's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you. Have a great night.